it to people?
Yes, please. That would be very helpful. Thank you. Great. After our little discussion on Facebook about Pepe Le Pew and cancel culture, I couldn't resist this version of the end for our webinar series. I must admit that I enjoyed that chat. And it's really fun for me when you post some videos from Serbia, because I don't know who is popular to watch in Serbia. I think it's really kind of fun. So feel free to add some more things there. I mean, even though the course is ending kind of with this webinar, I'm still around. I'm still going to read what's on Facebook, and I'm still looking forward to finding out more about what you've been doing, this week. We can talk more about that when everybody else turns up. Yeah.
Christina, I think it's probably better you do it. I'm just thinking because finding the gaps in what you're speaking might be a little bit hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just remind you if you haven't done it for a while.
Yeah, you can always put it in chat for me. That would be good too.
For sure.
Yeah, okay. We'll skip a chat task for tonight because we have quite a lot of things that we need to do. I think you will actually need a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil or something to write with for one of the games we're going to play later on. And I hope that everyone has found a URL that they would like to share. If not, I'm sure you'll think of something real quick. Okay. And I did share a document on Google Drive. I put the link in Facebook, and I'll put the link in a few minutes, not now because people are still coming into the meeting, to get that. I could put it in now and put it in again later. Why not? Then we have it. Okay. That is something that Massimo might not have, but he does now. All right, let's move on. And I just did want to mention copyright ever so quickly, because you may or may not have noticed that we have been making a real effort about copyright. It's quite challenging. It has been challenging for us to find materials and images that we can use for a course on British culture and contemporary English without kind of going into newspapers and taking stuff from the Daily Mail or whatever. That would have been really easy for us to do, but it would have caused a lot of copyright issues, which is why we use the Conversation website a lot. And I can say that 99% of the pictures we have used, I think there's one I couldn't find a sort of copyright friendly version of, but everything on on our materials has been either from Pixabay, which is my go-to place, occasionally Unsplash. And in case you're not familiar with this little trick, if you want to find a copyright friendly image using a Google search images, first of all, make sure you're in images, it won't work. And then go to tools. Okay, when you click on the tool button, you'll get this extra line where it says size, color, type, time, and it will say all when you first do it. When you click there, you'll have the option of picking Creative Commons licenses. And once you do that, the number of images that you get in the search really shrinks, but they will be the copyright friendly ones, and you will be able to actually click and check the license there. So we have done that. I have done that for every single image. And I recommend that you teach your students how to do that so that they learn to respect copyright, because it's quite a big shift for some young people if they've been growing up in other countries in the world and then they have to come to the UK and study. Copyright is a big deal here. So I don't know, you're probably already doing this. And if you've got some really good tips about handling copyright issues, please put that in the Facebook group later, okay? I'd be really keen to hear that because it's a kind of an important topic. I worked in countries where almost everything was pirated, or you could find a pirate copy of almost anything, and it was quite difficult to teach the students to respect copyright. Just a thought. And I'm really going to pass us on right away to John, okay? I think it's important that you get to meet him. He's important. All right, Chief Executive from IATEFL, and I know he wants to move on to the next slide quite quickly, so I will do that. Is that okay, John?
That's absolutely fine. The quicker the better. Nobody wants to look at that photo. All right. Hello, everybody. I thank you for letting me join you in this final session. I just wanted to pop in and thank you all for your participation in this project, to tell you a little bit more about why I'm here and the background to the Prelim project. and also a little bit more about what's been going on in lots of other countries as well. So yes, I work for IATEFL, the International Association of Teachers of English as a Foreign Language, and for the last, well, since 1967, we have been an English language teaching association with members around the world, individual teachers, researchers, managers, teacher trainers, all sorts of different people from within our sector, the English language teaching sector. And we are there to really serve our members, to provide teachers with resources to allow them to be part of a larger sort of global English language teaching community, to share ideas, to share best practice, to share problems. And that's been a particularly relevant thing in the last 12 months. Everybody's been sharing their challenges, rightly so. And we produce a whole bunch of publications of resources, and we have local events running throughout the year. And then once a year, we also come together for a big international conference and exhibition, which usually brings together about 3,000 people from around the world, which is really exciting. I guess the only other part, which is a really important part of IATEFL, is that within IATEFL, there are also 16 special interest groups. So most members of IATEFL are also a member of one or more of our special interest groups. And you can see from the little Lego blocks here, the range that we have, and people really develop their membership dependent on what their professional interests are, and tailor their involvement with the association and build contacts, build that community of practice based on what they're working in and what their interests are. So that's IATEFL, and IATEFL has, for this particular project, partnered with 2 other organisations. And Christina, if you could perhaps pass on to the next screen. We've been working with the British Council and also English UK to develop this PRELIM project. PRELIM, I don't know how many times you've heard that, perhaps not at all, or perhaps on a regular basis, but it was an acronym for Partnered Remote Language Improvement Project. And it was really something that we wanted to do this year, where we aren't able to get out, get around, people are not able to travel. And really it was a case of what could we do, how could we contribute practically, but in a remote way. And so Serbia has been involved because of the teaching association in Serbia. ELTA Serbia is actually a partner, an associate of IATEFL. IATEFL brings together teaching associations in over 100 countries, and actually all of the countries that have been involved in this PRELIM project are all IATEFL associate organizations. So that's sort of how we came together. The British Council, I'm sure everybody's heard of. I've just explained who IATEFL are. English UK, the final organization, is a membership organization of language teaching organizations within the UK, language schools, universities, who all provide language tuition courses and very often teacher training courses as well. And so the 3 of us have come together to try and organize this and actually to run PRELIM projects. I said around the world, and other than Serbia, we have over the last few weeks been running projects in Afghanistan, Argentina, Bangladesh, Brazil, Cameroon, Côte d'Ivoire, Cuba, Georgia, Guinea-Bissau, Honduras, India, Indonesia, Nicaragua, Pakistan, Palestine, Thailand, Uzbekistan, Vietnam, and Zambia. So as you can tell, it's an incredibly international project. And the key word for me is actually the second one in the box there, collaboration. It's really been, for me, an example of collaboration, yes, between British Council and IATEFL and English UK, but far more importantly, between teachers and teaching professionals in all of those countries, and teaching professionals in the UK from the 17 English UK member schools who have been partnering with these teaching associations, obviously including Bell, who have been working with you, which is fantastic. And it's been collaboration between those English language schools in the UK, the teaching associations, and most importantly, your collaboration and your engagement. And that's the second word, is engagement, which I actually haven't got there, but I think I'd like to congratulate you and thank you for engaging with this project, engaging with the materials. I've been having a good look at the materials on the Google site. Yeah, some really interesting things. I was very interested with the gender stereotypes and issues such as Black Lives Matter, which you sort of had a look at a couple of weeks ago, I believe. And then the week 5, I know, included idioms, which is always something which is incredibly challenging, I always find. So thank you for your involvement with that. I'm lucky enough to be sort of dropping in on a few other of these projects over the next week or so, and a really lovely job for me to say thank you for your hard work. Thank you to Bell as well for all of their hard work, and to wish you the best of luck finishing this course, and we hope building your confidence so that you are sort of able to make a difference, to build your confidence in the classroom, and also in your community of practice yourself, and working and liaising with each other and other English language teaching professionals, both in Serbia and perhaps with involvement from IATEFL around the world as well. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now and hand you back to Christina, but thank you very, very much.
I'm really happy that you were able to come along and give everybody like an overview, okay, of what's happening. That's wonderful. Let me just remind everybody that the meeting is being recorded from the beginning this time, just so you know. Okay, we don't usually do that, but I wanted to start that way this week. Let's see. And I'm also going to put a shameless sort of plug in there for IATEFL. I've been a member for good 20 years, I guess. And it really is worthwhile, I think, if you can manage it, to, put together the extra funding for yourself to join, because you get to join the organization and you get some newsletters and information. You can attend webinars for free once you're a member, and you can join, I think it was 2 SIG groups, so 1 or 2 SIG groups when you join up. I have to check that again. I know I'm a member of a couple of them. So you can pick areas that you're particularly interested in and that you want to specialize in. Conference this year is in June. I might post that on Facebook later, and it would be wonderful to see some of you guys there. It'll be virtual. Okay, so shameless plug. Couldn't resist.
Thank you,
John didn't do it, but I did it for him. All right. Yes, and basically we're up to basically it's the last webinar. It's the last webinar of the course, although I'm going to suggest something at the end of the session maybe we could consider for the future, okay? And we've called it Endings and Beginnings, because it's the end of one thing and it's the beginning of something else. Who knows what it's going to be at the beginning of for us all, right? And this is our little menu for tonight. Speed dating was popular last week, so I thought we would try it again. And we have a couple of activities and games included, all right? So before we get into the first breakout room activity, we wanted to share a little bit more about some of the things that we think are useful, okay? So I'm gonna hand you over to Claire to tell you about one of her favorite websites.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you again. Well, in my sessions, I've always mentioned my absolute favorite, who is Professor David Crystal. So he is one of my faves, and his website. But I've plumped tonight for Mark Hancock. And this is a site that he runs together with his wife, Annie MacDonald, who's also very well known in the area of pronunciation. And one of my favorite go-to websites is, as you can see here, Hancock MacDonald. It's just a site where you can access a whole lot of free downloadable worksheets. There are materials aimed at A2 and upwards. So it's very, very easy to navigate. It's very user-friendly if you're looking for A2 material or C1 material. You can access articles, you can access talks given by Mark or Annie, materials. There's a blog as well, so to keep up to date. And lots of material, as I said, where you can do work at the individual phoneme level, and then you can go to connected speech, tonic stress, sound versus spelling. There are rhymes and raps and chants to make pronunciation teaching a little bit more lighthearted and fun. But it's very much a site that takes up and runs with this idea that was put out there by John Field quite a few years ago, that we really need to reassess how we teach, for example, listening in the classroom. It's gone beyond that kind of press the play button and pray that everyone understands, which is really a sort of a test of hearing as opposed to listening. So this idea very much promoted that we need to do what's called bottom-up processing when we listen, and that means going back to phonetics. So one of my faves is the Hancock MacDonald site for pronunciation activities. Thank you.
Okay, and then Liz also wanted to share something.
Yes, I do. Hi, everybody. The website that I've chosen is not rocket science. It's nothing very new or very complex. And actually, that's why I've chosen it, because it's very user-friendly. I think the title partly gives it away, halfacrossword.com. And I'm sure we're all familiar with the lovely practice activity of putting your students into pairs or small groups. Student A has the answers to half a crossword. Student B has the other answers filled in to the same crossword, and they share by explaining the meaning of the words that their partner is missing, and their partner fills it in and then does the same and explains their words to their partner. It produces a lot of speaking. It's helping the students to process their understanding of the vocabulary, and it engages all students. I've never had a failure with that activity, but the websites that exist online have often got the kind of slightly clunky software where you have to print out the crossword and then fill it in by hand, half the answers in one copy, half the answers in the other. And the result is, not particular, unless you're prepared to pay to subscribe, the result that you've got is not particularly professional looking. With this one, with this website, you type in the words you want to go into the crossword and they go in for you. So you produce 2 half crosswords. These are downloadable, so you can use them in online teaching, or you can print them out if you're face-to-face teaching. It's free at the moment. You don't have to subscribe. Very user-friendly. You can adapt it to the level of your students. And the result is nice and professional. It doesn't just do half a crossword. It also does sentence correction, sentence with errors in them for the students to correct, anagrams for the students to put the words into the right order to revise spelling of vocabulary, unscrambling sentences, words in the wrong order, they put them in the right order, number bingo, and a board game. What makes it different for me is that it's just very easy to use. I can use it online, and it's free as well. So that's been my most recent discovery. As I say, not rocket science, but it helps me a lot. Makes my life easier, makes preparation faster.
Great.
Really.
Yes. Yeah, I love things that make pair work for me. It's wonderful.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
touch of a button,
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah. One of my favorite sites is called Lingro, and I don't know if you've used it or not. If you've come across this one, it basically, if you take a website and you put the URL in step 1, and then you choose your dictionary. It could be English to French, or you could be learning French, and you could have a French to English dictionary, for example, or another language to Chinese. There's 11 languages at the moment. It basically overlays like a dictionary on top of your web page. So when you are reading, you can click on a word and it brings up the meaning. And I think it's a great thing for using with authentic texts with students. I just put on a very quick screenshot. This is actually a text that one of you guys shared. Who was it? It wasn't Yelena. Who was it? Giovanna. Giovanna shared this one. This was about Banksy. I'm not sure if yes, Giovanna is here, right? So I put that website in here. You have to scroll down a bit and get past all the headers at the top. When you click on a word like stunt, it brings up a card. I chose English to English, and it has the meaning. And you can click on niche, and then you get the word niche that pops up. You can leave them up or you can close them down again. If you sign up and it's free, it will remember which words you looked up and store them in a word list. And you can make a very, very simple flashcard activity where you have the word on one side and the definition on the other. So it's not amazingly elegant, but it is free. And I think it's a great way to introduce students to authentic texts. They don't have to have the text and then like a large dictionary as well. They can just click. That's one I would offer you. We'd like to find out a little bit about the websites that you enjoy. Of course, I'll put all these things in Facebook later, so don't worry. We would like to put you into breakout rooms and give you a chance to share the different websites that you like. If I'm not mistaken, you should be able to share your screens. I'm just going to check that. Yes, you can share screens if you want to. You don't have to. You can put the URLs that you want to share into the chat in the breakout rooms and send it to each other. But do bear in mind that when you come back to the main room, we won't be able to see any of the chat that was going on in the breakout rooms. So I have a little tiny ask. Could you nominate one person in your group, maybe to keep track of some of these URLs and maybe share them when we get back to the main room at the end? I think that would be fun. So we'd like you to tell the people in your breakout room about the website and why it's useful. Screen share if you want to. It's up to you. Some of you do this already with students using Zoom. Say why it's useful. And our idea is that we'll do this like the speed dating thing. So you'll have a few minutes to talk about things in your group, and then one person will be moved. Okay, and I reckon it's going to take like 4 or 5 minutes. Because you probably have other things to chat about too. Because somebody went, yeah. So I'm kind of aiming for 5 minutes per round, because you'll be able to chat as well. And we'll send a message through a minute before we're going to move you, so you do know that you're going to be moved. And we're going to go, as Ivan and I totally agreed last time, for 3 rounds. Is that okay? Some people are looking super excited and happy about this. I hope we get a chance to meet some new people and, you know, socialize and chat, as well as share your website. So it's a bit of both. It's speed dating. Is that okay with everybody? Any questions? No? Okay. Massimo, is that okay? We're all ready to go. So let's have fun. See you back here in 15, 16 minutes. Have a good time. I might pop in and say hello.
Hello.
Hi,
Hey, so many smiles.
That's what we like. Yeah, I think it's great. So did you get to talk to some new people doing that?
Yes.
Yeah? Good. Yeah, Ivan, have you got a great list of websites for us?
Actually, yes, I do. I will send it in a second.
I'll send you an email in the chat if you want to send it to me. That might be a good idea. Would that be okay? Let me just find your...
Oh, yes, of course.
Thank you, Tatiana, for that.
Underground.
Oh, it's hot. Okay, Ivan, there you go. All right.
Sorry, what?
Thank you.
You are very welcome. Super. Any feedback
Very
or questions or comments before we move on?
Yeah. The Cambridge English one is fantastic. I agree with you. I use that all the time. Yeah.
Great.
Nina, did you want to say something?
No? Yes? Okay. In that case, we might move on. We'll be sharing that list, okay, with everybody later on. Promise.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.
You.
Sounds like fun. All right. We are going to go on and do something a little bit different now. I promised you something like a game, so I have to keep my promise, don't I? I think we should play a really traditional British game like bingo, but we'll do it a slightly different way, possibly a different way from what you've been doing with your students. I'm not too sure. Massimo, can I ask you to share that PDF?
Yes.
I put a link in the Facebook earlier to Google Docs, and there is a kind of revision document with some vocabulary, and we're sending that round again now. So whether you already have it from the Facebook group or whether you take it now from the chat, that's fine. But we would like to give you a chance in breakout rooms to review some of this vocabulary. Okay, so we're going to put you in breakout rooms with 3 or 4, groups of 3 or 4. I will give you about 4 minutes, I guess you need. 4 minutes, 5 minutes, maybe. I think Claire and Liz will be wandering around asking, if you need any help with anything to check the words. And then when we come back, we're going to set up a bingo game. And this is something I do in class with my students when I'm face-to-face, and it works just as well online with a couple of tweaks. All right. So does everybody have the document now? It is in chat.
I'm sharing a PDF version, which should be the easiest to open, but also a Word document. And you can open either of those download either of those.
Yes. And I can also, since we're sharing, let's just share everything. Why not? I'm putting in the Google Doc as well. Okay.
This time I'm not the one asking 3 times for the link. That's good. Yeah.
It'll be fine. Okay, so if we're okay with that, we're going to send you into breakout rooms. Give you about 4 or 5 minutes. Okay. If you have questions, this is your chance to ask right now before we start. No? Okay, so go over the words. Check that you know what they mean, because we're going to be playing bingo and you'll need to know the definitions or the meanings of those words. Have a good time, guys. All right. Bye-bye.